You find yourself lost in Irvingland. Last time we saw just what a changed man Dr. Smith is. We saw every inch of that new leaf he turned over after the fiasco with that treasure ring he put on his neck. He assured us he now understands that people are much more important than cold, unfeeling metal. That's why he's all set to go marching off into the sunset to find some kind of metallic shimmer that Will spotted some distance away. He's sure it's an outcropping of some precious metal, and he's determined to have it, even if it means not watching where he's going.
If you panic, you'll just sink faster, so don't panic!
Not panicking! I'm not panicking!
You know something? I believe him. I believe this is his normal state of mind. The strong, mature 9-year-old rescues the poor little adult from the mean old sand, and they continue on to their objective.
Dr. Smith, look at this!
That's not a rock outcropping. That is the hat that fraternities make their pledges wear to go on a snipe hunt. While they look, the door opens. Time to get the family.
As you can plainly see, Will's urgent summons that you come here was really quite unnecessary. His having seen a precious metal was nothing but a mirage.
He never said it was precious metal, Doctor. And that ship certainly is no mirage.
Well, it's of no earthly use to me.
Well, why does everything have to have an earthly use, Doctor?
Don't let him answer that, or we'll be standing here hours listening to the miseries of a galactic castaway.
Not just earthly use, Maureen. Earthly use to him. He's the center of the universe. Haven't you figured that out yet? Don't you realize the highest calling any of you has in life is to serve every little whim of Zachary Smith? What does the robot make of this thing?
Design, guidance, and propulsion systems of extragalactic special delivery vehicle indicate unlimited thrust, scope, and speed.
I wonder what it delivers. Well, maybe the extra galactic special delivery mail.
She's not too far off, but there's more.
Space capability of vehicle. Subject to errors inherent in my limited extragalactic experience. May reach velocity of light squared.
Squared? Well, that's impossible.
Vehicle capable of circumnavigating the universe. Space penetration is possible up to and including the 6th dimension.
Hold on. This thing has a propulsion or at least motion system that can take it anywhere in the universe pretty much instantly? Guess who's seeing his ticket home and to pre-plan us with everybody else?
Warning!
Yes.
Unpredictable modifications in cell structure are a hazard of such multi-dimensional spaceflight.
In other words, don't get any crazy ideas, Dr. Smith. The trip could very well kill you or turn you into a little white duck. Naturally, he didn't catch that part. John says, everybody stay away from this thing until we can do some tests on it tomorrow. When everyone except Will and the robot are gone, he gets up to his usual tricks. He wants the robot to move in and find out how to work this thing.
Dr. Smith, I just don't...
Quiet, my boy. I'm in command here.
That's Will's first mistake right there, letting him be in command.
Move! What is it saying?
Computers require readjustment to alien tongue, but tone of voice indicates a warning of some kind.
So back up and give it some space while you figure out what it said.
Then readjust quickly.
And I think most of us could see that coming. I wonder how this is going to turn out to not be Dr. Smith's fault, because you know it never is.
Oh, dear boy, I wouldn't say anything about this to anyone. We can put it back together again in the morning. Now, Will, I really don't think we should stay here any longer. Something is very wrong. I don't like it. Now, come along, Will. Come along.
Go back to the ship, tell your parents everything, and if Smith tries to stop you, shove a carrot up his nose. I've lost count of how many times he's said something to the effect of, let's make this our little secret, or we shouldn't tell anybody about this, and all the rest, and the kids almost always go along with him. Which proves, even when it's a genius kid like Will, kids are dumb. Will's about to prove it again. Did anybody ask why the robot didn't come back with him? Even if Dr. Smith started babbling some of his nonsense, it would be easy enough to shout him down and say the alien ship damaged him and they have to go back and fix him. But as usual, Will is going to take things into his own hands without telling anyone. And as he gets the robot fixed, this happens.
Do you know what that's all about?
Specifically, negative. But assumption is that extragalactic vehicle is in go condition for liftoff.
Golly.
In addition to being dumb, there's another thing about 9-year-old boys. I can verify this because I used to be one. They're so insanely curious, personal safety tends to take a back seat to figuring out what makes something tick. At least he can open the door again, for now. I know that looks like the fear helmet from Will's contest with Quano, but that's just the hardware. Lots of different companies used it because with the right software you could make it do almost anything.
Will Robinson to extragalactic control. I'm ready for liftoff.
I have a feeling he shouldn't have said that. That is what you told it to do. This is where unrestrained dumb, curious, and genius gets you.
So you see, my dear Cousin Joan, no matter what you may have heard to the contrary, life can be very normal on a strange and remote planet. Will still has to be reminded not to be late for dinner, and Penny is still forgetful about her personal appearance.
And Judy is just a little bit too critical.
Judy needs to mind her own business and stop shoving her own insecurities about her looks onto Penny. I don't think there's much chance of Don leaving you for someone prettier, so get over yourself, chick. Honestly, this is the Judy we've created. She's borderline useless, intensely superficial, and wants to grow up again vicariously through her little sister. That is one thing the movie got right over this first season of the show. They managed to make Judy a real person. You know, the kind who knew stuff and could do stuff and all that.
Looks like a comet.
It might be that extragalactic special delivery space vehicle taking off on its appointed route. If it is, I can't say that I'm sorry.
Oh, my, don't let Will hear you say that.
Will can't hear much of anything at the moment. Don and Judy are trying to find a few moments alone, and they're finding anything but. First Penny looking for Will, then Dr. Smith avoiding work in the garden, and now the robot.
You're supposed to be in your cubbyhole, mister.
Affirmative. However, due to temporary breakdown at alien site, my schedule was interrupted.
What were you doing at the alien site?
He's frothing at the tapes with his usual egomaniacal eccentricity.
Then why don't you just let him talk if it's all nonsense? Smith could save a lot of calamity if he would just learn to shut up.
Negative. Reporting liftoff of extragalactic vehicle
We're way ahead of you, robot. We heard it and saw it.
with amateur pilot aboard.
What do you mean by amateur?
I mean Will Robinson.
Perhaps more important, the vehicle is already on its way back.
Are you all right?
Will,
Well, your mother asked you a question.
Not really, Dad. She was just expressing her momentary emotional anxiety in rhetorical terms. Certainly the state of my physical well-being should be apparent to all.
Not necessarily, kid. You do also have internal workings that aren't readily visible. But that flight has turned him into some kind of super genius who's about as emotional as the ship he flew in.
You've been conditioned to accept the velocity of light as a limiting factor in space travel. Well, my flight disproved that theory.
Yes, I can see that. I'd like to talk to you about it. And your experience.
Certainly, Father. But it may be a little hard for you to understand, so I'll try to simplify it.
Well, thank you.
How very kind of him. He'll get started immediately.
Now, to understand me, the first thing you'll have to do is discard everything you know about energy conversion factors.
Well, it's impossible, son.
I was afraid you'd say that. How can I teach you anything if you won't accept what I say?
We don't want you to teach us anything, Will. We just want you to tell us what happened to you out there.
I wasn't aware that anything had happened to me. And if you insist on asking these primitive and emotional questions, I won't be able to tell you anything.
I wasn't aware that what happened was a primitive and emotional question.
Come here, son. Now, before you took that flight, you and I had a natural, easygoing relationship. The kind of thing that's normal between a father and his son.
You're saying I'm abnormal now. But I'm not, Dad. I know what I was like. And I haven't really changed. Maybe you have.
Good thing he's not being primitive and emotional about it. Instead, he goes out to explain to Judy how primitive and inefficient their gardening techniques are.
Oh, do you know any better ones?
Yes, but it would be useless explaining them to you.
Look, Will, I realize you're a brain now, but that doesn't mean you have to put everybody else down.
Your hypersensitivity is showing, Judy. Now, if we keep this up, you'll probably stomp out of here in a corny feminine huff.
Well, I've got news for you, Will Robinson. I'm going to do exactly that right now.
Poor kid. No intellectual discipline.
I can't help but love little Will Robinson calling his sister 10 years older than he is kid. And she's right, he's a jerk. He's got the intellect without the maturity to handle it. I can empathize. As my old friends from Bible college might tell you, I was just as much of an arrogant jerk once I got a little knowledge under my belt. Thing is, my immaturity came from undiagnosed ADHD. We're late bloomers. As I've mentioned before, I finally got diagnosed and started treatment at 40. I hope Will can get this stuff taken care of a little younger than that. He tries to play chess with Penny but drives her off with his superiority complex. Dr. Smith sits down and wants to talk about that delivery vehicle, specifically how to operate it.
For what ulterior motives, Dr. Smith?
Ulterior motives? I?
Will already told Dr. Smith that he can see right through him, but Dr. Smith keeps trying to play his deceptive games.
All right, then I'll explain them to you. 1, you can hardly wait to leave you. 2, you're hoping that if you can learn to fly that vehicle, it'll make you some sort of Lord of the Galaxies. 3, if you can ever guide it back to Earth, you'll become President of the United States at the very least.
He'd more likely want to be King of Earth, as if he'd have any clue what to do with power like that.
Really? I hadn't thought of that, but it does sound intriguing. Go on.
I'm sorry, Dr. Smith, but you and I don't communicate on the same level of maturity.
Will isn't wrong about that either, even before he took the flight. By the way, he also doesn't sleep anymore. He's outside redesigning the Jupiter 2 when guess who comes along with his usual verbosity.
I've made a very important decision, Will.
Oh, who do you plan to get in trouble this time?
O ye of little faith. The fact is, my boy, that at the gravest risk to myself and for purely altruistic reasons only, I am willing to undertake a flight in that vehicle.
Let's hear those altruistic reasons, Dr. Smith.
As if he can come up with some. But he says, you need someone on your intellectual level to talk to. I just want to see you happy, which means someone needs to go up in that thing.
I volunteer for that perilous assignment.
I got back okay, so it's not so perilous. Now, let's skip the big talk, huh?
You know, if this is what it takes for Will to finally see through Dr. Smith and put him in his place, it might almost be worth it.
It might be nice to have someone I wouldn't have to talk down to. But there's just one problem.
What problem?
You're not doing this for me.
Oh, my dear misguided boy.
We might get on a whole lot better if you'd admit that you were doing this for yourself, Dr. Smith.
You have cut me to the quick. What can I say?
It doesn't matter, because I'd see through it no matter what you said.
Dr. Smith, self-proclaimed greatest mind in the universe, doesn't grasp that his usual baloney isn't going to fly with this Will Robinson. Will says, still, it's wrong to withhold scientific information from someone who wants it, so he gives him a quick tutorial of the spacecraft.
Going up to the drill site, Will. You want to come along?
Not right now. I'm waiting for Dr. Smith to get back.
Where is he?
Right now, I say he's probably on the return leg of the flight.
You mean that liftoff we heard earlier?
Was Dr. Smith. He was very insistent, and I thought the experience might do him some good.
But according to Dr. Smith, his intellect can't get any bigger. Greatest mind in the universe, remember?
Dr. Smith?
Oh, dear. Oh, dear. See what has happened to me. Look at my face and weep. Oh, because I listened to you.
Yeah, he crammed those instructions into your head, right? Even when he's 112 years old, Zachary Smith can't accept responsibility for his own actions. It's always somebody else's fault. Even worse, now he has lots more boo-boos to whine and fuss over, and guess who all gets to listen to it? He made the flight on the assumption that it would do the same thing to him that it did to Will. But the robot said in the beginning that the effects of such a flight on cellular matter was unpredictable. He should have put the hat on and asked the ship to turn him into that little white duck instead. John and Dawn figure if they can find a way to reproduce the conditions of Dr. Smith's flight in the chamber, they can find a way to reverse things.
Give me a reading.
93.2 and steady.
All right, I'll try more acceleration.
According to my calculations, I don't think that the results...
Be quiet, Will.
It's going into the red zone.
Well, cut the power!
That's what I was trying to tell you would happen.
Maybe it's a good idea to listen to the guy with the accelerated brain. While Dr. Smith whines non-stop and manipulates everybody into serving him, Will thinks his best hope of finding a solution is to take another test flight.
What would you do on a test flight, Sonny?
Well, first I'd try putting the guidance system in reverse.
Brilliant idea. Do you think it would work?
It's scientifically feasible. However, out there's no guarantee.
No matter. I'm ready to try anything. What has an old man got to lose?
This is not like Dr. Smith.
Not much, I guess.
Then it's all settled. You'll go at once?
Me? But you're the one who would have to change, Dr. Smith.
That's more like it. You be his guinea pig because he's too big a coward to go first, even though he's the one who's running out of daylight. Somehow, Will gives in to Smith's usual horse manure. I don't know what happened to seeing right through him.
Oh, my eyes! Oh, my eyes!
What's happening?
Such courage, such devotion. You have a remarkable son, Professor.
Dr. Smith, you'd better explain, and quickly.
He's reversing the irreversible.
What do you mean, Dr. Smith?
He just cannot give a straight answer like Will took the ship on a test flight. His brain is not wired to do that. His brain is nothing but multiverbal circumlocutions and polysyllabic sentence units.
He'll be your own darling little Willie again, and when I go, I shall come back my own former youthful, handsome self.
Well, you crazy old fool!
John, please, go get Penny, will you? Listen, we've got to get over there.
Over the non-stop crybaby whining, Dawn dragged Smith along.
I'm not sure that's the same ship. What do you think, John?
I don't know. It does look a little different. Will!
Either it's a different ship or Will breathes water now. It keeps saying something, but of course they don't speak his language. Fortunately, the robot does.
Where is my other vehicle? It was here. Where is my other vehicle?
He's the delivery boy. He's Fry. They explain that it'll be back momentarily. He appears to grab Dr. Smith as a hostage because somehow he got it into his head that Smith is their king and says, "I'll wait 5 minutes." And then what? In typical fashion, John is going to try and distract him long enough for Dawn to get behind him. I don't know why they think Dawn can overpower him.
Ramya, Chimla, Horja.
Never mind. Will hops out and he's his old self. He explains to the alien why he borrowed the ship and what he hoped to do for Dr. Smith.
And he can't live much longer.
Oh, dear. Oh, dear.
Unless you take him up for a ride in your vehicle and change him back. He'd be very grateful, and so would
Oh,
I.
we would. We definitely would.
Do you understand? Wait! Wait, what are you doing?
He's doing what you asked. Stop throwing a fit.
Don't throw away! Dr. Smith!
He's doing what you just asked him to do. How do you not grasp that?
I guess it didn't do much good talking to that alien. We'll never see Dr. Smith again.
First, you say that like it's a bad thing. Second, you asked the alien for a favor. You said, "Do you understand?" He gave you a very human-like nod yes and took Dr. Smith to do what you asked. How do you expect him to do it without putting Dr. Smith in the ship? I think that trip dropped Will's intellect a few points.
Oh, poor Dr. Smith.
All we can do is hope that wherever he is, he'll survive.
This is getting painful. Special delivery for a collection of nincompoops.
In memory of Dr. Zachary Smith, who was transferred from this spot to the vast unknown of the sixth dimension. Gone but not forgotten. Indeed. And indeed. And indeed.
The episode lost me when they couldn't figure out what that alien was doing. Every member of that crew, including Dr. Smith, is more perceptive than that. We could have had just as much drama with them waiting around to see if it was going to work, and they wouldn't look like blithering idiots. The alien gave Dr. Smith some kind of note just before he dropped him off.
I bid you farewell. Planet is unsuitable as extragalactic relay station. From the brave youth, I have learned your speech. I knocked off some of the bearded one's years to please the youth. He sure is a dandy.
No! Of all the ungenerous ingrates!
Dr. Smith can't seem to grasp the fact that nobody in the universe likes him. Well, at least not as much as he likes himself. And all too soon, he's gotten himself into trouble again.
Is this the place?
Yes. But as I told you before, the laser pistol is beyond recovery.
You know we've never checked out this particular area. I gotta wring your neck for allowing Will to come here.
He wanted to collect some unusual rock specimens. Besides, why all this fuss about one small, unimportant weapon? Anyone would think I had lost the crown jewels.
Well, as far as I'm concerned, that laser's a lot more valuable.
Dr. Smith is never going to grasp that concept.
We need it, and we're gonna get it.
Very well. If you insist.
I certainly do.
He dropped the laser pistol off a ledge. He and Will could see it, but they didn't have any way to get to it. Now they do. But please tell me he's going to make Smith go down on the rope and get it.
Losing the pistol was an accident. You have only to ask Will.
I did. You said you heard this sound, drew your laser, and then this small lizard appeared. You screamed, dropped the pistol, and ran.
You have your facts completely awry, sir.
Given your track record, we'll believe Will, thank you. John is ready to go get it.
All right, I'll get the laser. All you've got to do is hold on to the rope.
Yes, I can do that.
Don't be a fool, John. You're trusting him? Tie the rope off and rappel. Do not put your life in Dr. Smith's hands.
It's a cable! Pull up on the rope! I'm coming up!
I hate to say it, but told you. I'll see you next time you find yourself lost in Irvingland.
There's a little white duck sitting in the water, a little white duck doing what he oughter.